Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and we wanted to get on here and talk Bears recap. This past Thursday night, the Buffalo Bills beat the Chicago Bears 28-27. But more importantly, we wanted to get on here because as we speak, there are currently cuts being made. Buffalo Bills are cutting players, and so are other teams, of course. So we wanted to get on here, talk a little bit about the players that we are cutting. Big name out there today is Corey Coleman, of course. But there's a couple more players that we want to get into, so we'll talk about them. And we'll also talk about some players that are being cut from other teams who the Bills might be interested in. So we'll keep you updated. We're going to be live here. The breakdown has to be completed, or the cuts have to be completed by 4:30 this afternoon. So it's currently 3:42 Eastern time. So we are going to be live probably up until 4:30 to see all of the cuts and see who we like. But before we do that, like I said, we want to kind of go over the Bears game a little bit, in which the Bills came back to win 28-27. Wasn't a pretty game, and this is the fourth preseason game, so we know that a lot of the starters won't be in on this game. But one thing that we learned is Adrian McCarron did start this game and actually played the whole game, which probably means that he will not be the starter come week 1 of the NFL regular season. So it's between Nathan Peterman and Josh Allen. So again, I personally believe it's going to be Nathan Peterman who gets that starting job week 1. But we'll see what happens as we go on. Also, hope that everyone is enjoying the first full Saturday of college football. I'm enjoying the game right now. Georgia game just started. So I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm looking forward to the Notre Dame-Michigan game tonight. But before that, I wanted to get on here. If you're new to the channel, if you're watching this after we go live here, just be sure to subscribe, guys. Football season is less than a week away. First game's Thursday. Bills play Baltimore on Sunday. I will be on here giving you a live stream reaction during that game. So be on here and share or like this video and other videos. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, whichever way that goes. So the Bears game, Adrian McCarron did get the start. Didn't start off that great. He had the pick 6 early on. I'll get his complete stat line here in a second. But yeah, I know he had that pick 6. Look up his stats here. He went 13 for 34 for 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, was not surprised to see neither McCoy, Ivory, or Murray start as far as running the ball. We had Cadet run 6 times for 73 yards, and we had Keith Ford run, run for 15 times for 55 yards. Adrian McCarron had 6 rushes for 54 yards and a touchdown, so he did show off a little bit of his mobility, so that was good to see. Logan Thomas, Kalen Clay, Riley, Robert Foster, Malachi Dupree, Zay Jones, Traverse Cadet, Ford, and Towbridge all had receptions. Leading receiver was Logan Thomas, 3 receptions for 40 yards. Touchdowns by both Robert Foster and Malachi Dupree. Probably Robert Foster only had the 1 catch for 24 yards, 1 touchdown. I don't think he's going to make the team. We'll get into the cuts here in a second. But we do see that Adrian McCarron is not going to be our starter come regular season, and that's kind of the big news out of this game here. Not much going on as far as any other news. We had Ray McLeod in. He was, again, returning kicks and had 1 rush attempt, and he also had a reception. So, excuse me. So it was good to see him in the game. I hope we keep him around. We did see Austin Proehl have a couple punt returns as well, or at least 1 punt return as well. On the defensive side of the ball, Vallejo had a sack. I do know that we already did cut Vallejo, so he will not be on the Bills in 2018. So those were pretty much our numbers. Again, we had to come back in this game. At one point, we were down 20-0, and then 27-3 actually at one point. And then Adrian McCarron led us back. All in the fourth quarter, we had 28 points unanswered in the fourth quarter. So, 25 points all unanswered in the fourth quarter because of extra points and such. But so that was the game on Thursday. Now it gets real, guys. Now it gets real. Again, this Sunday is going to be next Sunday will be our next game. First game of the regular season against the Baltimore Ravens. So again, you won't be here. We will have live commentary during that game as well. So now we can get into the player cuts. And again, the player cuts, the deadline for player cuts is at 4:30. So we will be on here. That's about 45 minutes away. So we'll get some people on here. We'll talk about it a little bit. Again, the big news here, Corey Coleman. We just traded for him not even a month ago. Gave up a 2020 7th-round pick for Corey Coleman. So he was now off the team. He was cut. So that kind of stinks. I remember like we were talking about the trade when it happened, and everyone was like, oh, well, we made out in that deal because no matter how much productivity he has, it was for a 2020 7th-round pick. So it will benefit us. Well, now we can't say that because we cut him before we even got a chance. So let's say that the Cleveland Browns pick him up. Well, then they just got a free 7th-round pick. So I'm not a fan of that really. But well, I mean, good for Cleveland. And the fact that we cut him means he wasn't being productive. I don't want to keep him just because we traded for him. But it would have been nice to see him do something a little bit more. So Corey Coleman's the big name again that we cut today. That's the name everyone was talking about. Again, we did cut Tanner Vallejo. He did have a sack in Thursday's game, but I did project that we were actually going to cut him, so I'm not surprised to see him go. He did have a couple productive seasons with Buffalo, but nothing great. We have cut defensive lineman Ryan Russell, wide receiver Cam Phillips, tight end Keith Talbridge, center Adam Redmond, which wasn't a surprise either. I mean, we knew we were keeping Bodine and Groy, so having the third center on there is not necessary. So we got rid of him. Defensive tackle Albert Havili, cornerback Breon Borders, offensive tackle Mo Porter, and wide receiver Malachi Dupree. These are the current guys that we have cut. So we want to keep that in mind. Again, we want to look through some of these other guys. I know that Michael Floyd was cut, wide receiver. That was the name that I saw, and I thought the Bills might be interested in. So I'll keep an eye out for that. Going through some of these other teams to see if there's any big names here. Other big news of the day was Khalil Mack getting traded to the Bears from Oakland Raiders. Now, I know a lot of Bills fans were thinking and hoping that the Bills would trade for him, but after seeing what the Bears projected to give up, I am kind of happy we didn't get him because that was kind of a big trade, guys. I'm going to look it up right now. I heard 2 first-round picks and more. So I know Khalil Mack is a game changer, and I'm not saying that he wouldn't be a game changer on our team, but you're talking about 2 first-round picks plus for Khalil Mack. That's a lot of things to give up, and we all know how much Brandon Beane likes his draft picks. So. Coleman is eligible for the practice squad. I think he has to make it through all the teams first. As long as no one resigns him, then yes, he would be, or signs him, then he would be eligible for the practice squad. But he does still have the ability to sign with another team. And with it being with Corey Coleman's pedigree, well, not pedigree, but like where he was drafted and things of that nature. I'm watching Hard Knocks for the Browns when he did get cut, how he wanted playing time. I do see him probably going on somewhere else and trying to make it there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Corey Coleman. He can make the practice squad, but I just don't see him wanting that as an option. So, but then we have like I was talking about before, the Khalil Mack trade. Again, the Bears gave up. It doesn't say what the Bears gave up yet. But they said 2 first-round picks and more. So we all know how much Brandon Beane does like his draft picks. So we didn't think that we'd be I never thought that we'd get Khalil Mack. I know we have a lot of salary cap space next year, and we could use it for him, and we still really can, because the Bears, not only do the Bears have to trade for him, but they have to re-sign him, right? So what happens if the Bears trade for him and then Khalil Mack doesn't re-sign with the Bears? That would be a big deal. I don't think Coleman is a bust per se yet. I mean, he's only been in the league 3 years. I feel like you need more time to do that. And I don't feel like he was a bust for us trading for him. I mean, basically we gave up something for nothing, though, right? Like we gave up a 2020 7th-round draft pick, which probably isn't that big of a deal. but we've seen talent come out of the 7th round. I think immediately I think of Marcus Colston, wide receiver for the Saints. He was a 7th rounder. I think of Tom Brady, of course, who was a 7th rounder. Like, there's talent there. We just would need to find it. But for every 1 or 2 talented players that you have 100 to 200 guys who don't even make an NFL team ever in their career. So it's still giving up a little bit of something for nothing. Okay, like we got no return out of Coleman, for that 7th round pick. So, but as far as his career, I don't think it's fair to say that his career has been a bust as of yet. Now, if he doesn't resign anywhere, and this is the last time we hear from Corey Coleman, then yes, it's been a complete bust. But that's not a surprise considering he was a Cleveland Brown pick, and they seriously didn't do well for the past 2 decades in picking players. So it's upsetting for him. It's upsetting, I think, as a Bills fan to see that happen. Just because you want him to do well. I mean, I still have faith in our wide receiving core. I think Kelvin Benjamin will have a good year. Zay Jones is still there. Like I said, there are some guys, like I said, Michael Floyd was just dropped from the Saints, I believe it was. So, cut from the Saints. Let's pick him. He's been a veteran guy who's been around the league for a little bit. He could definitely be of benefit here in Buffalo, I believe. But then we still have a couple of good wide receivers out there, a couple of young wide receivers who I can't wait to see on the field. I really hope we keep McLeod. I think Ray McLeod will have a great career. I really do. I just the way he's been playing. I know that Steve was high on Austin Proehl coming out of the draft. I haven't seen too much production out of him, but with his background, with his father and everything, it's fair to say that he could have a good career as well. But the way Ray McLeod has played this preseason, I think him and Josh Allen are kind of forming some sort of chemistry. So that's interesting to see. Josh Allen had, in the first preseason game, Josh Allen, him connected on a couple of big targets, and one of them was the touchdown in the 4th quarter. So, it'd be good to see us keep him and maybe keep that chemistry working. Going to some more cuts and seeing if the Bills cut anybody else recently. I don't see anything. There's a tracker going on. Malachi Dupree was still the last one according to this, which is kind of upsetting. A lot of people like Malachi Dupree. I don't know what you guys thought. I would love to know what you guys thought of Malachi Dupree coming out of LSU last year. Really didn't get a chance to play anywhere. So this was going to be a chance for him to play. Maybe still can make the practice squad. And that's not nothing. Like, you make the practice squad if something happens to some of your wide receivers. Ray is still there. As of right now, Ray McLeod is still on, has not been cut. Let me go through some of the cuts again here, guys. We have Corey Coleman's been cut, which again is the big name. Tanner Palejo has been cut, which was something that I projected. I'm not sure if other places projected that, but Ryan Russell, defensive lineman, was cut. Cam Phillips was cut. Keith Talbridge has been cut. Adam Redmond has been cut. Albert Havili has been cut. Breon Borders has been cut. Mo Porter, and then Malachi Dupree. That's the names of the guys who have been cut currently. As far as tight ends, the only tight end that has been cut as of right now is Keith Talbridge. At least that's been reported here. I'm on the Score mobile app, so hope maybe I'll get another app here, go on Bleacher Report, and see if anything else has happened. I'm also on NFL.com here as this happens. So I'm trying to keep track in multiple places so we don't miss anything, guys. Like I said, we will be on here till 4:30 because that will be when cuts are supposed to be in. Not saying they'll all be in at that time I mentioned, but I'm just looking through here, guys, trying to find it. But I mean, I will try to stay on here till at least 4:30, so that way you guys can see the cuts or hear about the cuts as they happen here. The Bills have not signed anyone yet. No, I don't think anyone really has signed anyone. Basically, normally what happens is you wait till all the drops happen, and then you look at all the drops, because you don't want to, like I said, Michael Floyd was dropped, right? So let's say Michael Floyd gets cut, we sign him today. Well, who's to say someone maybe better or younger than Michael Floyd isn't dropped, or someone who we feel fits our need better at wide receiver, and we can pick him up. So you don't want to add someone once they're cut too soon, because if you do that, then you might miss out on someone else who gets cut later. Some teams are still making tough decisions and here we are 34 minutes before the deadline. Some teams are still making tough decisions. And it's going to be tough to see. Yeah, I actually expect another 2 tight ends to go. I wouldn't be surprised between Lee, Kroom, and Thomas. I actually only expect one of them to still be on the team. But we did have 4 tight ends on our roster last year, so it's possible we still keep 4. And in that case, we would only drop one of them. So, well, Ray has not made it yet. Nothing's official as far as I've heard, unless you heard something different. He hasn't been cut yet, but we're not done with all of our cuts. We have only cut about, I'm going to say about maybe 10 to 15 players so far. And to get from 90 to the 53, obviously we need to cut a lot more than that. So I'm trying to keep an eye out, guys, as far as who's getting cut. I have a couple different trackers on here. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything and give you guys the best coverage I can. Again, Bears acquired. I mean, the big news of the day is the Bears trading for Khalil Mack right before the season starts. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's gonna play, though, right? I mean, just because he got traded doesn't mean everything's all better. He still wants to get paid. So is this the Bears saying we're willing to pay you? We're willing to give up 2 first-round draft picks, and we're willing to pay you a huge lump of money. This could be a risky move by the Bears. I really believe that because if you're willing to pay that much money for one player, that leaves you kind of bare other places. Yes, Khalil Mack's a great player. I'm not saying he's not. And I'm happy he's in the NFC. If he's not going to be a Buffalo Bill, I'm happy he's in the NFC. Good luck with him in the Bears. The Bears are kind of notorious for great linebackers, so it's good to see him go to a team that has that kind of rich history when it comes to the linebacker position. So we'll see what happens with Khalil Mack. I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, I still remember the draft. I wanted to draft him when we traded up to get Sammy Watkins. I thought it was actually to get Khalil Mack. I was hoping that was going to get Khalil Mack, but it didn't turn out that way. So still keeping track of some of these trackers, guys. Again, I'm gonna get on some other sites here and see if we have any other news as far as who's been cut. I'll go through that list again as soon as I get that back up for you guys as to who has been cut so far. But other news, I want to know who you guys think is going to be the starting quarterback for Buffalo Week 1. Is it going to be Nathan Peterman or is it going to be Josh Allen? Pretty sure mix since we saw him play all of the Week 4 preseason game, and he didn't play that well, if you ask me. I mean, he had a good fourth quarter, having the comeback, but I just don't feel like he played all that well. So, what do you guys think? I personally think Nathan Peterman will be the starter. How we fix the dead cap problem long term? We actually already have. We already have. Next year, if you look, we have over 100,000 in cap space. So we pretty much have already fixed the dead cap problem that was by the previous regime kind of put us in a hole. As soon as we got Coach McDermott in there, the first draft, even though Doug Whaley was still there, it was McDermott's draft, and he did a great job. He got the trade in the first round with the Chiefs to get White and the extra draft pick the coming year. And then next, all those trades that Bean did as far as trading away Marcel Darius and trading away Cordy Glenn, that really helped us out as far as getting rid of our dead cap problem next year. This year, it is a big problem. This year, we have a lot of dead cap. I think we lead the league in dead cap. And I think we're double the next contender as far as dead cap money. But next year we'll have over 100 million in cap space. And so we're really looking forward to that. I have seen some Bills fans saying that they're going to sleep on this year and really look forward to next year. I'm not going to sleep on this year, but I am very excited for 2019. So we're looking forward to that. Like I said, we have over 100 million in cap space next year, so that will be a lot better for us as far as Bills fans. And we can go after. I saw some. I was thinking that if Mac wasn't traded and held out, then we could have gone after Mac. Obviously, now it looks like the Bears will get him long term. I saw some people saying we might go after Le'Veon Bell, get him a 5-year long term deal. For a lot of money. We could do that. McCoy will only have a year left on his contract, and who knows what's going to happen with that situation from earlier this offseason as well. We heard Steve say on here that he feels like if McCoy is suspended now, it won't be until next season. So some other big cuts: the Texans waive Braxton Miller, who was a quarterback at Ohio State, who turned into wide receiver to try to make the team. The Jaguars cut Carell Phillips. Arthur Moats is on IR. Baltimore Ravens released wide receiver Brashad Perriman. Maybe that's a wide receiver we would be interested in. I'm not sure. Dallas Cowboys are cutting defensive end Coney Ely. Jeff Janis is being cut by the Browns. Brandon Tate is being cut by the Saints. Brandon Tate is another good veteran receiver who we might be able to bring in. I'm not sure why the Saints are cutting him, but they also cut Michael Floyd, so they feel like they have good base of young wide receivers, which is something we might feel too. We might keep both Austin Proehl and Aaron McLeod, or Robert Foster and Aaron McLeod, or Robert Foster and Austin Proehl. But again, I do want to see Aaron McLeod make the team. So Christian Hackenberg was cut. I don't think we have to sign him. I really feel bad for him. I don't think he was worth a second-round pick, but since he was, there are expectations that I think were kind of unfair for him. But we'll see what happens. Again, let me go through the cuts real quick for you guys. Let me get back up here for you. I didn't see any big O linemen getting cut. I went through the names a minute ago. We can go through them again as soon as I pull them up on my phone here. Breaking news: Eagles plan to start Nick Foles in the season opener. Season opener for the Eagles is this Thursday, guys. If you're not a fan of Philly 500, go subscribe to Philly 500. He will do live commentary as well on here, and you can hear that game from him. Also, I believe the Sports Fury will be having that game as well. If you're not fans of theirs, go and get them as well. On my phone here, guys, trying to pull up the draft tracker for you. But for some reason it went away. Yeah, I don't know why it left, but yeah, Bills are releasing Corey Coleman. We knew that. NFL roster cut tracker. There it is. All right. So the Buffalo Bills: Corey Coleman, linebacker; Tanner Vallejo, defensive lineman; Ryan Russell; Cam Phillips; Keith Talbridge; center Adam Redmond is pretty much and Mo Porter are the two offensive linemen who we've cut. Is center Adam Redmond, which we all expected with Bodine and Garoy both there. And then also Mo Porter has been cut as well. In fact, I can also turn on NFL Network, and then we'll get some news from there as well. That's my plan. I hope you all are enjoying the first Saturday of college football. First full Saturday I was, but yeah, it just came to me that, hey, I should turn on NFL Network, and that will definitely get us information on more cuts and things of that nature. So that's what I'm going to do now. So you guys can keep me updated on some college football scores maybe. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm not worried about it until 7 o'clock tonight when we have, I think, the biggest game of the day. Matt Barkley is on IR, so it's going over some headlines now. Michael Johnson has been released. So here we go. So I'll give you some news that I see coming across the screen on NFL Network. We have till 4:30 Eastern time, so that's another 25 minutes away to get some of these cuts in and see who's been cut. I want to see who other teams have cut. We just saw the Saints cut 2 of their wide receivers. Do we bring them in since now we got rid of Corey Coleman? Or are we saying we're happy with the receivers we have? Maybe it's going to be Benjamin, Zay Jones, and Curley as our top 3. You like the thumbnail? Thank you, John Patrick. I try to do fun things on here every once in a while, but it gets tough. I'm not the most tech savvy person, so I do the best I can. My main thing is getting you guys the Bills news, right? That's why I care about most. So that's what we try to do. We'll do it with a little pizzazz when we can. I think some of you join me for the live stream, so I have a green screen now. I do. Still haven't figured out how to use it though. So we'll get there. This will get better and better as time goes on. And obviously we need you guys. We need support from Bills Mafia to support us. And we look forward to going throughout the whole season with you guys. Like I said, we will be here for live commentary during the games. So we do look forward to seeing you during the games as well. I'm going to update this real quick, see if there's any news, any more news about the Bills right now. Looks like Atlanta has actually already cut all the players they're going to cut. You look at the Atlanta Falcons, and it's just like a huge name or a huge list of names. So nothing new on that. Seahawks plan to keep Thomas, so that's news. Aaron Donald signed his big deal. Brent Selleck retires. Those are all big news stories. I was a fan of Brent Selleck living close to Philadelphia. I was a fan of his. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Eagles overall, but I think the Eagles always have decent tight ends. I think that's something that I always like about the Eagles. But we're not here to talk about the Eagles. We're here to talk about the Buffalo Bills. Again, I want to know who you guys think is going to be our starting quarterback as we wait, as we keep getting the roster news, and we keep getting the roster down to 53 men. Right now, we need to make more cuts. I think we've cut about 10 players, at least that have notable players that have been named. But yeah, we need to get that down before 4:30. Not saying that already has been done, but it will get done sooner or later. I just got someone just commented saying that McCarron has been traded to the Raiders until I see it. I haven't seen it, is what I meant to say. But once I see that, I will report that as well. But if that would be big news. I would wonder what we get for AJ McCarron. Because again, he didn't look good in that fourth preseason game. I don't know what you guys thought. Yeah, I mean, he came back for the wins. We scored 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, but he also had that pick 6. He had 2 interceptions, so it really didn't look good. So we'll see what happens there. I would love to see that we traded him, maybe get something for him. Maybe pick up another, because AJ McCarron wants to have a chance, and he deserves a chance, I think, to be a starting quarterback somewhere. Obviously, if he goes to Oakland, he won't be. He'll be behind Carr. But he'll be a backup there. In this situation, he was looking at possibly being a third string guy because Nathan Peterman's played really well. Josh Allen's obviously the up-and-comer. So where does that leave AJ McCarron? So again, if we pick up a veteran quarterback, maybe someone who gets dropped, I mean, not Christian Hackenberg, but maybe somebody else who gets dropped, then we have to pick up a veteran and who can lead these two basically rookies. I mean, they're both really young to see what works best. I believe I'm with you, Bills fan in 1970. I think Peterman should be the starter. Washington Auburn gonna be the biggest college football game today, probably. But as a Notre Dame fan, I have a little bias, and there's more history obviously with Michigan Notre Dame, so it's a little bit more of a background there. But Washington Auburn is a huge game today. 6 versus 9, I believe it is. I think it's a much bigger game for Washington than Auburn, but Auburn doesn't want to lose, obviously. So we'll see what happens. For what? Oh yeah, for what? What did we trade him for? I'm looking to find that still. I still haven't found that. And normally with these trades, we won't know what we got for him for a couple of days, or at least a day, right? Like we don't know what Mac. Yep, no, I have it here now. Steelers released Landry Jones. And then right below that, Raiders acquire AJ McCarron and trade with Bills. So that helps trim down our roster because more than likely we got picks for him, right? More than likely, I mean, now 2 of our old quarterbacks were there with both, and then here it is on the Score mobile app. Yep. So with EJ Manuel now in Oakland and AJ McCarron. So again, the AJ McCarron trade, I still feel comfortable with that trade overall. And then, we'll see what we got for him. I hope we got maybe a 4th for him, but I've been so wrong with how well draft picks work with players that it could have been a 2nd. I'd be like, what? I don't know, but I doubt it's going to be a 2nd. I think it's going to be more like a 4th or 5th. But then again, the Vikings? Nope, not the Vikings. Hold on, I'll get it. The Jets just got a 3rd rounder for Teddy Bridgewater, although I think Teddy Bridgewater is a little younger, and Teddy Bridgewater did have a much better preseason, so that works in his favor. I think got 3rd for him, right? So we'll see. I think maybe a 4th would be good. 5th, I'd wonder about, but I mean, if we weren't going to start AJ McCarron, he was going to be our third string guy. So we just got a draft pick probably for our third string. So that's never a bad thing, I don't think. Like I said earlier with the Corey Coleman news and how I talked about how we gave up something for nothing, even if that something's a little bit. The talent you can find in the fifth round, I go back to it a lot. Milano was a fifth round draft pick, and now he's one of our starters. So there is talent there in the fifth round, and we just need to find it. And if this coaching staff has, or this, not just the coaching staff, but if Brandon Beane and McDermott have shown anything, it's that they apparently have this way to get the best out of their players. So no one thought we'd be a playoff team last year. We went 9-7 last year. No one thought that going into the season. And my prediction for this year will be coming out this week. But hopefully we can improve upon that. I know we've made a lot of changes this offseason to the quarterback position, especially, obviously, to the offensive line. We were kind of forced our hand with the offensive line with the incognito thing and with the Eric Wood thing. Again, I wasn't too mad about Cordy Glenn because he didn't play much for us last year. But still, we had to really revamp our offensive line, so that might take time. But I trusted the process, guys. Got to trust the process. Still looking for more recent cuts. Again, Corey Coleman, Tanner Vallejo, Ryan Russell, Cam Phillips, Keith Talbridge, Adam Redmond, Albert Havili, Breon Borders, Mo Porter, and Malachi Dupree are the 10 that are showing up here on my phone. As I watch NFL Network, I have a couple different things up. I have it on my phone. I have it on the computer here as well. I'm going to keep you guys updated. Big news for Buffalo just happened. AJ McCarron traded to the Oakland Raiders. We don't know what the Buffalo Bills have gotten out of this yet, but that's the news that has just come across. So that could be big news depending on what we got for him. Maybe we did get a player for him, but normally if it's a player, we would know that a little bit faster. Not saying that it's not because we just found out this news, but we would know this soon. Other breaking news, Nick Foles is listed as the starter for the Eagles. Not a big surprise there. Again, Brashad Perriman, my receiver from Baltimore, he was cut. So, I always thought he could be something talented. Probably pretty much the same thing as Corey Coleman, though, as far as potential and not living up to that potential. He was a first-round draft pick. But he has been released from the Baltimore Ravens. Be interesting to see if the Bills go after wide receiver. What do you guys think the Bills will go after wide receiver now they cut Corey Coleman? Do you think that we'll get wide receiver after all the team cuts here? There are a couple big names. Like I said, there are a couple big names out there. Brashad Perriman's out there. Got Austin Duke, Jamal Jones, Tanner Gentry. Jeff Janis from Cleveland. Trying to look at the big names. There are a bunch of wide receivers now getting cut, but none of them are huge names that people would know. Quinn Bray. Braxton Miller, the old quarterback from Ohio State. When he was drafted as wide receiver from Houston. He's been cut. Carroll Phillips, defensive man from Jacksonville, he's been cut. That's also a big one for me too. I wouldn't be surprised if we gave him a look. But we also gave Oakland a call about Khalil Mack, and then he went to Chicago. So still interested to see what Chicago all gave up for him. There's reports that was 2 first-round picks and then some. If you're joining me, welcome to Believers Talk. Thanks for joining. If you are not subscribed to Believers Talk, please know next Sunday we will be going live for the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills game, live commentary, live reaction. So if you are not subscribed, subscribe, turn on your notifications. There's like a bell down here somewhere. Turn those on. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We will keep you updated and posted on there as well. So if you have not already subscribed, please be sure to do that. Support our channel, share this video and others, so that way more people will get to see us as well. Still no new news as far as the Bills go on some of these cuts. Biggest news out of Buffalo currently is that we have traded quarterback A.J. McCarron to the Oakland Raiders. We still are unsure as to what the Bills have gotten. As you see my eyes and everything move, please note that I am keeping updated on these websites, watching NFL Network on my phone. I'm trying to get the most coverage I can for you guys at home, so you guys don't have to go to all these sources. Just come to Believers Talk, watch us on here, and we'll try to keep you updated as best we can, so that way you guys get the news at one spot. Let me see if there's any other big news. Nothing new as far as transactions go that I'm seeing here. I'm looking to see if we have any updates on it. No updates on NFL.com. NFL, Buffalo. Buffalo traded A.J. McCarron. Yep, that's the most recent news. A.J. McCarron was traded, and then it goes into the cut of Corey Coleman. We have dropped Ryan Russell. I don't know. Yeah, his name was on there as well. Anthony Johnson, defensive lineman from the Colts, has been released. We released Tanner Vallejo. And again, I think we're pretty set linebacker, so I'm not really disappointed about the Vallejo trade. I don't know what anyone thinks there out there, but I'm not too disappointed that we traded Vallejo or dropped Vallejo, cut him, whatever you want to say. I feel like we're a lot younger at that position. And Vallejo, he's kind of been progressing downward as far as stats on the field and being in the right place at the right time and downfield, routes, stuff like that. It's funny having someone talk about routes. All right. For a 5th round pick. Again, that's what I was thinking, probably a 4th or 5th round pick. I was hoping for the 4th, but we know that Bean likes his draft picks, so he gave up a 7th for Corey Coleman in 2020. He picked up a 5th, and again, you're getting a 5th for who is potentially going to be your third string quarterback. I'll get to the right position. I'll get there. Just give me time. But yeah, for your third string quarterback, you need a 5th round pick. That's not bad. McCarron wasn't probably going to see the field this year anyway, so give him a chance to fight out for the number 2 spot in Oakland. And I think if Oakland made the trade, then that's them saying that they're willing to have A.J. McCarron be their number 2 quarterback. So I think it's going to be a good fit for both teams. We get the 5th round pick. McCarron gets a chance to be a backup again instead of falling down in the depth chart to 3rd string. I don't think that's what A.J. McCarron wanted, though, originally when he was traded from Cincy to Buffalo. I think he thought this would be his chance to start. It really was. It was his chance to be a starter in the NFL. But again, he did not impress this preseason. Unfortunately, the injury kind of took him out of that 3rd preseason game. Was it the 3rd or 2nd? 2nd preseason game a little bit early, right? I think. But anyway, it took him out early. He was only 3 for 6 in that game, and so he really didn't get a chance after that. Still looking at some other websites, guys, here to see if there's news reported that other sites are not catching up on. Again, I'll go through this list of current players cut by the Bills. I'll update this and see if let's see if we've had any more cuts. Again, today's the deadline, guys. We are cutting from 90 players down to 53. So you look at Atlanta. Atlanta seems to have already made all their cuts. We still have the same 10 guys listed as far as players we have cut: Coleman, Vallejo, Russell, Phillips, Talbridge, Redmond, Havili, Borders, Porter, Dupree. Talking about some of these guys, seeing Breon Borders, it's not a surprise, but I kind of want to see more out of him. Kind of disappointed. But again, I think if you go into our backfield, it's pretty well done. I don't know if the better players could cut last. As you saw, Coleman was just listed. McFloyd's been listed. I believe that those are some big names. But it's almost funny. I do think that the NFL wants to make it known to the public in different increments, if that makes sense. Because they don't want all the big names to be early, because then we're done, right? We we go on YouTube, we announce the big names, and then all of a sudden we're done for the day. We go on to college football. If we learned anything about the NFL, they want to be in the news. They're greedy. They want all the attention for themselves. Even on college football Saturday, they want to get as much headlines out there in increments, so that way the attention is still on them a little bit. You know, the Cleo Mack news broke this morning, and that was big news. And then you have I don't know, some other big news. The Bills trading Adrian McCarron. Is that big news? From an NFL standpoint, is that big news? I don't think so, but maybe. Especially considering Adrian McCarron was going to be the starter, and then he didn't have a hairline fracture, even though they saw one in his collarbone. So, you know, Michael Floyd got released. You got some other names being released here. I don't know. But it's getting close to that 4:30 Eastern Standard Time mark. It's 4:22 now, so in about 8 minutes, there will probably hopefully be some more news. We will stay on here to keep you updated as best we can. Again, I have a few different websites up right now, trying to get you keep you up to date as fast as I can. So if you want to give me a little leeway here, I'm doing the best I can. I promise. So what do you guys think about Perriman being waived by the Ravens? Do you think we should give him a shot? Again, I do wonder. Do we feel set at wide receiver? Is that why we cut Coleman, or are we looking at somebody else who we thought was going to get cut, and so we cut Coleman to make some noise? You know, I'm not sure. Not sure. Okay. More news about Coleman. So the bad news about some of these websites is they'll give you the big names, but they won't break down some of these smaller names, you know, that I want to see, that I think we all want to see. I want to know exactly who's on our 53-man roster. Yep, still the same 10 names that I'm seeing. And when seeing anything else as far as ad drop or as far as cuts go, again, I don't expect to see us add anyone until all cuts are complete. Big news for Buffalo right now. If you're just joining us, Adrian McCarron was traded to the Raiders for what was said in the chat room to be a 5th-round draft pick. So that's kind of big news for us. That's another 5th-round draft pick. I believe it will be a 2019 5th-round draft pick. Let's see if it says anything more about it. Yeah, he's going to battle with E.J. Manuel and Connor Cook to be the Raiders' backup. So it'll be interesting to see. They have a little bit of competition going on there. But again, I think the fact that the Raiders traded for him means that they want him to be the backup. I don't think you would trade and give up a 5th-round draft pick for a 3rd-string quarterback. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I think you guys probably agree with me there. It would be dumb to do that. It would be dumb to trade away a pick for a 3rd-round quarterback. So going back into the draft tracker, still no new news. I don't know why. I believe that all cuts would probably be pretty much finalized by now. I mean, hopefully, unless they just hand them all in at once and say, here you go, here it is. But if you're going to hand in your first 10, you probably have more ready. So different website here, see if we get any more news. Everyone talking about Corey Coleman, of course. Now, Malachi Dupree, I believe he was on our practice squad last year, so I would not be surprised to see if he gets there again. Okay, we released defensive tackle Tyrone Walker. So that was a name that was on the previous list. So the Bills released defensive tackle Tyrone Walker. That report is from someone on Twitter here. Corey Coleman, Malachi Dupree, Brandon Riley has been cut. Here we go. Cam Phillips has been cut. Dean Marlowe has been cut. Breon Borders we had. Ryan Russell, Albert Havili, Tyrone Walker. Gerard DeBeer was cut, who unfortunately he was a undrafted rookie who we picked up. Laughing at some of your comments, guys. So yeah, Gerard DeBeer has been cut. Then we have Adam Redmond, who we knew, Vallejo, who we knew, Townbridge, who we knew, and fullback Sam Rogers has been cut. Which again, we only need the one fullback spot, and we knew who that was going to be at the start of the season, at the start of camp. So that's not a surprise either for me to see him get cut. Especially with Ivory. I think Ivory is kind of a bigger back. He can pretend to be a fullback if we ever need him to be. And fullbacks are something that you can easily pick up if, forbid something happens to your starting fullback. It's not hard to go back and try to pick one up. So there's some more cuts. Again, I'll go through the list. Coleman, Dupree, Riley, Cam Phillips, Dean Marlowe, Breon Borders, Russell, Havili, Walker, Porter, DeBeer, Redmond, Vallejo, Talbridge, Rogers. So those are a couple more cuts. And again, we did trade AJ McCarron to the Raiders. So we're getting down a little bit here, guys. 427. Again, 430 is the cutoff time to make these moves. Coleman, we did talk about Coleman being practice squad eligible. He would be eligible for the Buffalo Bills since it was a trade, but I don't think he wants that. So I do believe that Coleman will probably sign somewhere else. Although, as we see throughout the league here, lots of wide receivers are being dropped. And if you could get, Brandon Tate, if you can get a Michael Floyd, when you get those guys over Corey Coleman, who really hasn't shown that much, you look at Tate and Floyd, you kind of know what you're getting there, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, sure, they're getting a little bit older, so they're decreasing a little bit, but you still know what you're getting. You know what you're getting into. With Corey Coleman, you really don't. Why did the Bills drop him? The Bills are a team who, before training camp, the outside media was talking about how terrible our wide receivers were. They were calling our wide receiving core the worst in the NFL. We pick up a guy like Corey Coleman who might help us on the outside, and then we cut him. So what does that say about Corey Coleman as far as his commitment to this? I'm not saying I have the answer to that. I honestly don't know, but there's obviously something there. Something has to be said about that, because if our wide receiving core is as bad as people are saying it is, why wouldn't we keep players that would potentially help that? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Corey Coleman. Maybe no one signs him and then he does become our practice squad player. But as of right now, he is not on the Buffalo Bills. He is free to be picked up by anybody. And I think if someone gave him a chance, he would jump on it and he would take it. So, but yeah, when he was traded, the Browns traded away all his rights, which would include the practice squad. Be honest, I would actually rather Malachi Dupree be on a practice squad again over Corey Coleman. But that's just me. Because Malachi Dupree was here last year. As I update all these websites to see if there's been any more news about the cuts. Again, today, guys, is cut down day. You cut 90 players down to 53. In years past, it has been like a process where you start with 90, you go down to, I believe it was like 75 after week 2 of preseason. And then after week 3 preseason, you cut it down to like 60, and then you get down to your 53. Now it's just one fell swoop. First game of the preseason, you have 90 guys. The last game of the preseason, you have 90 guys. After that last game of the preseason, you have to the following week. In this case, Sunday, probably in most cases Sunday, since the games were played Thursday, to cut it down to 53. And if you are new to Believers Talk, I just want to say thank you for joining. Subscribe, like, add, all that kind of stuff. We will be live here. We'll have shows out before next Sunday. We have our prediction show coming out where we predict the Bills record. And then we also have, we have the pregame to the Ravens game that will come out as well. As we probably announce our starter, we'll probably come on here to talk a little bit about who we announce. Believe it's going to be Nathan Peterman. I think it should be Nathan Peterman. for two reasons. A, I think Nathan Peterman has played the best out of the two quarterbacks now that we have on our roster. And B, you do not want to put Josh Allen out there too early. We have seen so many times where young quarterbacks, are put out too early when they're not ready, and just ruins their career. If we want Josh Allen to be our franchise guy, we need to keep him around, and we don't want to put him in there unless he has proven that he can be the starter. And I do also believe that McDermott really likes Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman was the first quarterback that Sean McDermott had drafted. Now, back then it was under Doug Whaley, and maybe Brandon Beane has some voice in this as well. But Nathan Peterman was the first quarterback that McDermott drafted, so he's going to want to see him succeed. So we'll see what happens there. Still watching NFL Network, guys. Still checking some other websites and trying to keep us updated. Yeah, the Patriots have a way of doing that with ex-Bills players. I'm not saying Bills players are the only ones, but Hogan is projected to have a great start of the year, at least with Edelman out. So the Pats do have a way of doing that and making it look good. And there has to be a reason for that, right? It's not like, let's be honest, Coleman. If Coleman goes out to New England and succeeds, it's not because Coleman is this wonderful talent that everyone missed, right? There's something else to that, And as much as we hate the Patriots, you have to give them the credit where credit is due. And they do something right. I don't know what it is. Obviously, we want to duplicate that, but they obviously do something that other teams do not do. So it'll be very interesting to see that. But I don't know. And in fairness, the Patriots could use wide receiver help, especially in those first 4 weeks with Edelman being out. So we will see what happens there. Just continue to look at team news, guys, and see if we waived or released anyone else. Going back a couple days ago, kind of catching us up. On 8/28, we did release L.J. McCray, one of our defensive backs. He is not eligible for the practice squad. He was waived, no recall. On the 24th, we released Tenny Pellepoy. The 23rd, Keenan Robinson, linebacker, we put him on the reserve retired list. On the 22nd, we waived Marcavius Lewis, defensive tackle, and John Ryan, punter, who wasn't a surprise. We actually just put him on the team because our backup punter tore his ACL in one of the games. So John Ryan was released. So that's pretty much all the news so far. We are past 4:30 now, so we should be getting more news in as far as who has been cut, who is still on the team, who makes the 53-man roster for the Buffalo Bills. I am constantly updating sites, guys, trying to get that information to you as soon as we get it. It will be interesting to see. Again, big news if you're just joining us. A.J. McCarron traded to the Raiders for appears to be a 5th-round draft pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. And Corey Coleman was cut. So those are kind of like the two big stories around Buffalo. If you're looking for league stories, you can talk about Khalil Mack, being traded to the Bears for what looks like 2 first-round draft picks. Some news like that. The Seahawks are keeping Thomas, so that's kind of big news for them, which is weird to me. I thought they would definitely release him, but just because they're getting younger and, Thomas doesn't help that. Anybody else get any news as far as who we cut? Who we cut? Maybe. Again, I don't think we're going to add anybody to our roster until all the cuts are listed and completed. And maybe these teams, I wouldn't be surprised even if these teams have already know every single player released and they're just waiting to release it to the media. The draft picks are known before we know them. I mean, we have to wait till Goodell gets up on the podium. Excuse me, guys. But Goodell gets up on the podium and announces them. But all the picks are known by pretty much everybody everyone in the NFL prior to that moment. Even like ESPN and NFL Network have agreed to terms as to when they would announce the picks, just so one doesn't beat out the other. Kind of like you see in some other drafts and things. So still waiting to see who all the Bills cut. Again, we need to cut down that roster from 90 men to 53. Wouldn't be surprised if a lot of players that played in that Bears game would be cut or traded, as we saw with AJ McCarron. This would include Ford and Cadet. Because I mean, Marcus Murphy really impressed this preseason. Now we do have the one fullback. Like I said, between fullbacks and running backs last year, we kept 4 guys because Tolbert was pretty much a slash guy, even though it was listed as a fullback, right? So we have our fullback, and then we have McCoy, we have Chris Ivory. So that leaves one position open, and to me, that would have to be not Cadet or Ford. But they both played well in the 4th preseason game. You know what I mean? Like Cadet, I think Cadet's a good back, even before training camp started, and we didn't see who Marcus Murphy really was, even though Rico called it on Buffalo Fanatics. But I thought Cadet had the job because he played here last year. He played well last year. When McCoy went down in that last game against the Dolphins, he was serviceable in that game and other spots as well. He came in and kind of showed us a glimpse of what he could do. Yeah, so rude. I'm sorry. Showed us what he can do. But no, I mean Marcus Murphy has really come on strong and kind of taking that job from him. So could it get cut? Yeah, I do believe that. I think Cadet, like I said, Cadet and Ford will both be cut going into the game from last week, or from this past Thursday, I should say. Going down this list of players, I just don't see any players that are worth really keeping, or that I'd be sad if we got rid of, other than Ray McLeod, of course. Ray McLeod was our kick and punt return guy for that game. But Logan Thomas, I mean, I think that's going to be a big one, right? Like I said, between Logan Thomas, Lee, and Kroom, I think at least one's getting cut, right? Possibly 2. So it'll be interesting to see who keeps their job there. Foster, we already know he's been cut. Malachi Dupree, we know he's been cut. Cadet and Ford, I think they're going to be on the way out. And Talbridge, he's already been cut as well. Hausha is obviously sticking around. Ryan's already been cut because we know Schmidt's going to be our punter. Be interesting to see what happens in some of these defensive guys. Siren Neal, I think I've said this before. I think he will be cut as well. Marlowe's already been cut. Russell, Lacey, Love's already been cut. Borders has already been cut. Lafayette Pitts, I think he's going to get cut. Vallejo's already been cut. Woodson Lester, I think he will probably get cut. Carter, Hatley, Wallace, Washington. Maybe Washington stays. I think Washington might stay. I don't know what you guys think about that, but maybe Washington stays. Bowsen and Fetty, I think they both get cut as well. So looking at that 4th preseason game is kind of an indication of who might not make the team, because if you're playing the 4th preseason game, you're more than likely not a starter because you don't want your starter getting hurt a week and a half before the season starts. Again, season starting next Sunday, September 9th. The Buffalo Bills will play. Oh, Siren Neal already made the roster. Wasn't sure. I'm just not sure. But yeah, September 9th here, we'll have the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills game. We'll do live play-by-play. We'll do live reaction. Only thing is, guys, I cannot show the game due to copyright restrictions. But if you want to come on here, talk Bills talk while the game's going on, and I'll keep you updated. Or you can watch the game wherever you're from, too. I mean, if the game's on in your area, or if you have the Sunday ticket, watch the game there. And we'll talk Bills talk here while the game's going on. And we'll just have a good time doing that. Again, I'm just going through all the websites I'm on. I'm on 5 different websites, and that does not include the app. Trying to get to the cuts. Perhaps I should be on Twitter and just be following people on Twitter to see also what happens there, because it seems like things happen faster on Twitter than anywhere else in the world, right? So Cowboys released Dan Bailey. That's kind of big. I mean, we don't need a kicker, but wow, that's big news. Bills receive a 5th-round pick in exchange for McCarron. So we are seeing that in multiple places. Yeah, still nothing, guys. I'm not coming up with anything new as far as these drops. It has been reported, thanks, Nick, that Siren Neal has made the team. But I'm just looking for other things to see what's going on with the Bills as far as who has made the 53-man roster. Again, Ryan Russell was released. Vallejo has been released. McCarron was traded. These are just the stories coming, still showing up as the top headlines for the Buffalo Bills. So still not sure who's staying and who's going. I'm trying to follow it as best as I can to keep you guys updated as well. Really looking forward to the season. How about you guys? What is the prediction out there for the Bills this year? As Bills fans, people are going to say we are a little biased, obviously, but I want to know what your record predictions are and see how close we come to my prediction as far as how the Bills are going to do. Week 1, I think, is a huge week for the Bills, guys. I really do. See that UCF Jaguars going live shortly to discuss the 53-man roster for the Jaguars. If you're a Jaguars fan, be sure to hop on there. I'm not sure when he will be going live, but be sure to follow him. Hashtag cut day. All right, so here we are again. We talked a little about the Bears game on Thursday. The Bears losing to the Bills 28-27. Not too, even though we won, I still don't think it was that impressive of a game. We had to score 4 touchdowns late to win that game. Lafayette Pitts is reported to have made the team. Not happy about that at all. I think Lafayette Pitts played well in that third preseason game, in the second half of that third preseason game, but he's been burned so many times. I mean, I'm just really surprised to see that he's made it. If that report is true, obviously, but he's a backup, so we need someone to back up our other corners. So not sure, but and see, I'm not even that impressed with Vontae Davis yet. I know in that third preseason game, Vontae Davis in the second half had a couple of big plays, and that had me excited. But again, that was against the Bengals' second string, so I really would like to see him do better. But obviously, we know Vontae Davis is going to make the team. That's never in question. That was never in question. But just really wish he would do a little bit better. And maybe he's holding it in since he's an older guy. He's waiting for the season to start. But we knew we were taking a chance on him when we traded for him. So let me go through the guys that I know have been cut already. And if you guys have heard things as far as reports, he might be replaced as well. You can add that to the team. Here's the guys that have been cut as of right now that I have updated. Hey, the Texans released Joe Webb. Just throwing it out there, guys. The Texans released Joe Webb. We can get him back. So get him as our third string quarterback for that snow game again. In December when we need him. So, all right. So here are the Bills players that have been cut. We have Corey Coleman, again, kind of the biggest name out there. Malachi Dupree, Brandon Riley, Cam Phillips, Dean Marlowe, Breon Borders, Ryan Russell, Albert Havili, Tyrone Walker, Mo Porter, Gerard DeBeer, Adam Redmond, Tanner Vallejo, kind of another big name if you're a Bills fan, Keith Talbridge, and Sam Rogers. Just got some other things on here saying it's been reported Logan Thomas has made the team. Lafayette Pitts has made the team. Sarah Neal has made the team. So these are some of the bigger names. So if Thomas has made the team, that means we have Lee and Kroom, who are out there as tight ends who are possible cuts. Again, I think we're definitely cutting at least one of them. So if you had to cut one, Lee, Kroom, who are you cutting? Who are you keeping? I would like to know that. I have my opinion on that. Want to know yours, and then I'll give you mine soon. Maybe they'll tell me before I have to say my opinion, so that way I don't look bad. No, I think if we were going to keep one and release the other, which it does look like we have to, EJ Manuel to Bills. I hope that's fake. I hope that's fake news, John Patrick. I really do. But I might not be. You guys have to keep me updated as much as I have. So Mike Rodak just updated us on the AJ McCarron trade, and it is a 5th rounder. So let's see here. Logan Thomas was the Buffalo Bills' highest grade player on offense this week in the preseason game. So, and again, and Adolphus Washington is listed as one of the higher defensive ones, and I think we are going to keep him. So those are our cuts at this moment. There are obviously going to be more listed as time goes on. 6 and 10. Josh will get playing time towards end of season and start next year when we can load up. Yeah, no, I'm with you, John Patrick. Actually, that's I would want to keep Kroom and get rid of Lee. Lee was on the team last year, made the 53-man roster last year, and I feel like he didn't do that much. And Kroom just kind of shined in the preseason a little bit, and he's good. Yeah, as Nick just said, he's good at both blocking and more versatile in the passing game as well. But then again, I mean, you're talking about our 4th tight end. I really, between Clay, O'Leary, and Thomas, I really like our tight ends as far as being able to receive out of the, be receiving tight ends. But you know what? Also, Kroom is more versatile. Maybe that means we can put him at fullback, since we only do have that one fullback spot right now. I've seen that happen before where tight ends have been used as fullbacks. And to be honest, I think that's a good, smart move, especially like in the goal line situations, 4th and 1s, things of that nature. You want your big guys in there, and your tight ends can get to those holes just as fast as a fullback can. So yeah, I think that's also a good point about his versatility, and we all know how much Coach McDermott loves versatility, right? So and you should really like a versatile player, one who is your 4th string tight end, should definitely play on special teams and contribute there, if not anywhere else. Coming across the screen now on NFL Network about the Bills trading AJ McCarron for a 5th. So that's news. Martavis Bryant was released by the Raiders. Now he is facing a hospital suspension, but that's big news, I think. Martavis Bryant, especially if he doesn't get suspended. But I feel like if he wasn't going to be suspended from the league, the Raiders would not have cut him. I feel like the Raiders might know something there, and that's why they cut him. But that's another big name. The Patriots released ex-Buffalo Bills running back Mike Gillislee, so he's on the release, but I think we're set at running back. Steelers released Landry Jones. Landry Jones might be a good veteran quarterback to put in there if he wouldn't mind coming to Buffalo. Rashard Perriman's been released, so that's a big wide receiver name who the Bills might look at, guys. Terrence Newman announced his retirement, so that's I personally thought Terrence Newman already was retired, so that's news to me. But he had a great NFL career, so trying to get back to these cuts, guys. Trying to keep you updated as best we can. Again, most websites are talking about the McCarron trade, talking about Logan Thomas a little bit, who apparently has made the team. So you guys think, what do you guys think about the Corey Coleman trade now? Now that he's been cut, do you still think it was worth it to give him a shot? Again, we didn't have to give up too much for him, so I think it was still worth it. But I really hope he doesn't catch on somewhere else. A 5th of Jack Daniels. I'm not. I like Jack Daniels, so maybe hey, if every Bills fan gets a fifth of Jack Daniels, maybe that's worth it. And you're talking bottle or shot? A fifth of a shot isn't that much, but maybe a fifth rounder isn't that much either. But again, if you can trade, and that's how I felt about the Teddy Bridgewater trade. I mean, I feel like the Jets actually got a great deal for the Teddy Bridgewater trade. A third round pick for your third string quarterback who everyone knew wasn't going to be the starter there anyway. Even though whether he deserved it or not after how he played in preseason, I think that's huge. And then because you're talking about McCown being there, you're talking about Sam Darnold, and then you get a third rounder. I think that's huge. I heard some people, including Mike Greenberg, Greeny. I don't know if his last name is actual Greenberg, but he's a huge Jets fan. And I know he was talking about how he wished that they would have waited until there were some injuries. But you can't count on injuries. Right now, you got to strike while the iron is hot. And Teddy Bridgewater has not been hotter than he's going to be right now. I don't think there's nothing he can do to make him any hotter because he's going to be a backup come regular season. So no one's going to see him on the field again in regular season. You can wait till halfway through the season and then trade him because the more you wait, the less value he's worth. So if you wait 2-3 weeks for someone to get hurt, now all of a sudden step at third, you're getting a fourth or a fifth round pick, kind of like you are with AJ McCarron. That's a big deal in the NFL. Third round pick is almost a guaranteed starter in the NFL nowadays, at least. A fifth round pick. Who knows? Who knows what you're getting from a fifth round pick? You can get somebody like Mike Milano, who starts, plays well, who I think as Bills fans we all really like, or you could get. I don't know who else. I was gonna say Robert Foster, but I think we got him earlier than that. So, but Siren Neal, who now will be our fourth corner. So, report on here said that he's gonna make the team. So Wyatt Teller, he'll obviously make the team. I think. To be honest, I want Wyatt Teller as a starter, but we'll see what happens there. I think Wyatt Teller has played better so far this preseason at our guard spot. So I wish he would get that job, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, still nothing coming up on my end as far as more recent cuts. Foster wasn't drafted. Yeah, you're right. So what do I know? The only reason picked him up because of his relationship with Dable, probably. But he has been cut. And so if any of you were wondering out there, he has been cut. Still have not seen any updates than the first time I really gave it to you guys. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Believers Talk. But I'll give you the last names of all these guys so I don't have to go through them all, but I'll try to go through them as quick as I can for those of you who heard me already. Coleman, Dupree, Riley, Phillips, Marlowe, Borders, Russell, Havili, Walker, Porter, DeBeer, Redmond, Vallejo, Towbridge, Rogers. Those are the guys that we have released as of now. That's how many guys is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 15 guys. If you include us trading AJ McCarron to the Raiders, that's 16 guys that we've gotten rid of. Again, we need to get 90 down to 53. So we're talking about 37 players that we need to get rid of. Maybe get rid of some more so we have some added, we can add some to our roster later. Some of these other guys who've been dropped, like a Perriman, like a Floyd, like a Tate. Those are 3 wide receivers that have been dropped, but there are going to be other names that get out there. Defensive tackle is a huge concern of ours. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a good defensive tackle get dropped that we don't pick him up. Defensive ends, we can use some help with defensive ends. Offensive line obviously is a huge concern as well. So these are some positions that we could use help in, and we'll see who gets cut to see if any of these guys will help us out as well. Still nothing. Again, I'm just looking on here, guys. Constantly looking. Constantly looking at these websites to see if there's any updates as far as who's been traded, who's been cut, any other news. Again, I have NFL Network on. They're recapping some games from the 4th week of preseason. Right now, the Broncos-Cardinals game is on. Hope you guys are enjoying the first full Saturday of college football. If you're a college football fan, let me know. I am a huge college football fan, especially with this YouTube channel. I think I'll actually follow it more now just because I want to get ready for next year's draft. Because we all know the positions in need, so I'll definitely be looking for those. And at this point, I think it's, I hear a lot of people saying we're going to draft high in the draft just because we're not going to have a good season. Also hear some people saying we're going to make the playoffs, so that would have to have drafting back a little bit further as well. As was mentioned in this chat room, we do have a lot of draft picks next year in the draft. Use that as ammunition. I think Bean and McDermott did a great job this year in the draft. I really do. Obviously, a lot of that depends on how Josh Allen does. But even without Josh Allen, it was a great draft for us, I think. So, we pick up Wyatt Teller in the 5th round, who we could use. We pick up Raymond McLeod, who's looking like he's going to be really good. We pick up Austin Proehl. Some of these guys, I don't even need to talk about Harrison Phillips or Tremaine Edmonds or anything like that. I really hope Zay Jones improves this year because it can't get much worse than last year. I think last year was a terrible year for him. I do think he was an unfair spot. I mean, you look at last year. Remember our receiving situation last year? There were times where Zay Jones looked like he was going to be our number 1 wide receiver last year, and I just don't think Zay Jones is a number 1 wide receiver. Zay Jones is a perfect wide receiver for the slot. He will play a perfect slot position. So if you have Kelvin Benjamin healthy, let's say you have, we wanted to get Anquan Bolden in. Well, he wanted to retire. Why? Because he was playing for the Bills, and no one projected the Bills to do well. He says there were other reasons involved in that, but if you remember right, later he wanted to go to the Patriots. He wanted us to take him off the retired reserve list so he can go to the Patriots. Why would you want to go from the Bills to the Patriots? Because you want to win, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to win. The problem is, why did you sign with the Bills in the first place if you thought – okay, we didn't trade Sammy Watkins before then. But is Sammy Watkins a big game changer for you? Is that what it was? Trading Sammy Watkins meant we went from a 10-win season to a 4-win season or a 6-win season. Sammy Watkins is not that good. He is good, but he's not that good. He hasn't proven that, at least, in the NFL currently. So was it that? You just really liked Sammy Watkins? I don't know. So, but yeah, if you remember that situation that Zay Jones was put into, I think Zay Jones should be much more comfortable this year and say, put him in that slot position. I don't care who you have as the number 2. I thought it was going to be Coleman. Obviously, it's not. But I don't care who you have as number 2. But Zay Jones shouldn't be your number 2. He should be your slot guy. He should always be your slot guy. And I think he's going to play better because no offense, but the quarterback situation. I think he's going to do much better with the quarterback situation, and knowing he's not the number 1 guy. Having Benjamin there is going to be a big help. And having a healthy Benjamin there is going to be a big help. So, have Benjamin there, maybe put Raymond McLeod as number 2. Someone who can burn it downfield, spread the field out a little bit more, and then have Zay Jones as your slot guy. I'd be good with that. And I think he would do better. But I would, if I'm going to project stats this year, I'm going to project Zay Jones has somewhere between 40 and 50 catches, which is better than last year. 40, 50 catches. Let's go with 400 yards, 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Let's do 3 touchdowns. That would be better than last year. And I think that might be downgrading it a little bit. We're not used to, and I don't want to say this as an insult to Tyrod, we're not used to good quarterback play when it comes to throwing the ball, statistically, right? Our top wide receiver last year might have been Zay Jones. Our top reception guy minus McCoy was Charles Clay. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm underestimating what they can do with them now that we have a quarterback, whether it be Nathan Peterman or Josh Allen, who can kind of zing the ball in there a little bit better. Tyrod, you can't. Tyrod's a better athlete than both Josh Allen, all around athlete than Josh Allen, Nathan Peterman. But I think both Nathan Peterman and Josh Allen are better throwers of the ball, which is what you want out of a quarterback position. It's what we should all want out of a quarterback position. Steve and I did a show talking about quarterbacks pre-draft, and I had a stat about how many the top 5 quarterbacks in passing yards. They have over 10 Super Bowl rings. The top 5 quarterbacks in rushing yards, I think I have 2 or 3, and Steve Young has 2 of those. So, and Steve Young was just unreal at both, like he was just really good. And I think people underestimate how good Steve Young was because of that dual threat. But it's those type of statistics, and obviously Cam Newton is already a top 5 rushing quarterback, and his career is not over yet. And I think he still has a shot of winning a Super Bowl or 2. But that still goes to show you at the quarterback position, throwing the ball is always going to be more important than running the ball, always. So I want a quarterback who can throw the ball. Still trying to load some roster cuts, not seeing much, guys. Again, if you guys are seeing stuff, you can obviously chime in here and keep me updated. But I'm not seeing too much as far as new news. Got those 15 cuts and that 1 trade as of right now. Couple guys have been reported to have made the team. Do I think Peterman will finish the season? I think if Peterman loses the starting job, it won't be performance related. It will be record related. Let me say that. I think Peterman can keep the starting job for the whole year. I expect Tyrod Taylor to be the Browns quarterback for the whole year, depending how the record is. And for them, I think their record could be 6-10, and Tyrod will start the whole season. I don't think that's the case in Buffalo. I see Peterman starting at least till our bye week. Okay, and then depending how we are on bye week, we'll still have 4 of our 6 division matchups left after our bye week. Depending how we are doing there, we might put Josh Allen in to give him a start early on the next season. I personally don't want that. I want Nathan Peterman to start the whole year now. I mean, before the whole situation with the fractured collarbone by A.J. McCarron, which wasn't much of a fractured collarbone at all, I wanted A.J. McCarron to start the whole year. Steve and I both agree that you don't want to put a young quarterback out there too early, and getting him experience matters, but you don't want to put him behind the 8 ball. Bad experience hurts just as badly, and Peterman's a good example of that. Let's see how Peterman does shaking off that 5 interception game. I hope that he already feels like he has, because I think that Colts game he played really well in the first half before he got knocked out. I think it was early in the second half he got knocked out on a sliding play where he got kneed in the head. I thought he played pretty well in that game. Had the touchdown pass to Calvin Benjamin. Kept some plays alive in really tough conditions, guys. The stats won't show you everything. So we'll see. Still looking at that 53-man roster, guys. I thought the cut time was 4:30 as far as when they had to have it in. I'm going to see if I was correct in that. No one on here corrected me. So if I didn't know, you guys didn't know either. So yeah, I'm going on CBS now, and it looks Dolphins have released all their cuts. Ravens have released all theirs. Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans, These guys have all released all their cuts, and here we are. The Bills still have not. Chargers, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles released all theirs, cut all theirs. I mean, Falcons, Panthers, cut all theirs. Rams, Niners, they have all been cut. So more than half teams have announced their 53-man roster, and the Bills still have not. This says 4 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. So here we are now. It's 5 o'clock, and we still do not have the Bills roster set. So very interested, very weird to see why that has not happened yet. Foster report to have made the team. I don't know if Dable would have something to do with that or not, because I don't know. Just wasn't a fan of Foster this preseason. I don't know what you guys think. Had the touchdown in the 4th preseason game, but I don't know. If you were asking me to keep Coleman or Foster, I probably would have said Coleman. Because Coleman still, Coleman had what, 2 games? You know, he had 16, 17 days of practice. Have I seen anyone I think we should pick up? I've seen some guys who I want to take a look at. Michael Floyd being one of them at wide receiver. Brandon Tate was released. Excuse me. I'm going to go through some of these cut guy names and see if anyone stands out to me. Again, I'm looking strictly for offensive line and defensive line. That's pretty much it. We do have an up-to-the-minute update on NFL Network, but it's not up to the minute at all. It's actually news we've known pretty much all day about Khalil Mack being traded to the Bears for at least 2 first-round draft picks. So I'm going to go through some of these cut players, and again, I'm looking for that line guys, maybe some wide receivers to see who I think could really help the Bills out here. And if you guys have any names that you know, let me know. But right now, like I said, Michael Floyd, I'd take a look at him. Patriots released Jason King, offensive guard. I think we need a lot of help at the offensive guard position, guys. Like I said, I hope we start Wyatt Teller at our guard position. But so I wouldn't mind looking at him. You know, I'm looking at some of these teams that are known for having good line play. Just see who's available. Justin Evans from Baltimore was cut, so could take a look at him. That report is talking about the deal with the Buffalo Bills for AJ McCarron and the Raiders for the 5th-round draft pick. Justin Murray, offensive lineman from Cincinnati, he was released. And again, some of these guys I've never heard of either, so it would be really tough to say if I think we should sign him. Who did we cut? And hey, Fox 87, how you doing? Glad you're here. Glad you made it. Who did we cut? Again, so I looked through all the teams, and I can give you the list of them again. Most of them have listed who all they have cut. As far as the Bills, here are the list of names that I have currently for who we have cut. Now, obviously, the big one is Corey Coleman. But let me go through the names. It's about 15 players that were cut, and we have traded AJ McCarron. So right now, we're down 16 players, but let's go over that. So here are the players the Bills have cut so far. We got wide receiver Corey Coleman, of course. That's the big one. That's the one that we've known about for a while now. We got Malachi Dupree has been cut. We have Brandon Riley and Cam Phillips. Those are the wide receivers that have been cut so far. That still leaves a bunch of wide receivers that we're not sure about, right? Raymond McLeod, who I hope makes the team. Robert Foster, who you guys said reportedly has made the team. Austin Prohl. Jeremy Curley. These are some guys who we're not sure about, so we'll see what happens with them. Some defensive backs we've cut. We've cut Dean Marlowe and Breon Borders. On the defensive line, we've cut Ryan Russell, Albert Havili, and Tyrone Walker. Offensive line, we cut Mo Porter, Gerard DeBeer, Adam Redmond. Linebacker, we Tanner Vallejo, and at tight end, Keith Talbridge. Fullback, Sam Rogers. Those are all the release players that have been reportedly cut as of right now that I know of. So out of those guys, again, if you were going to ask me if I would rather keep Corey Coleman or Robert Foster, probably Malachi Dupree or Robert Foster. I would keep Corey Coleman, that's for sure. So I'm not sure what they see in in Robert Foster. Wonder if that's a dabble thing with him being from Alabama. Got it. So yes. So Talbridge is the only tight end currently that has been cut. So as of right now, there are still 5 on our roster. So we're definitely cutting at least one more. We're not bringing 5 tight ends into the regular season. So Clay, I'm pretty sure we'll all agree Clay's on the team, right? O'Reilly, I'm like 80 to 85% sure he's gonna make the team. Okay, that leaves Logan Thomas, Keith Lee. And I'm sorry, I don't know Kroom's first name, but Kroom, okay? So those are the 3 guys. We're going to cut at least one. We talked down here earlier that we want it to be Lee. We think it's going to be Lee. I think we said Kroom has more versatility as just an overall player. We're talking about special teams, help especially, maybe put him in the backfield as an extra fullback if we need one. And then we have Thomas, who the past 2 preseason games has actually played pretty well. As far as receiving the ball. So we still do have Jason Kroom. Thank you, Fox87. So we still do have 5 tight ends currently that are listed on our roster that obviously needs to be cut down to at least 4, if not 3. So we're still looking at these websites, guys, trying to get you a list of all the guys who have been cut so we can then look at our 53-man roster. Again, they should have been announced at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. So I don't know why this is taking so long, and I'm really unhappy about it. I enjoy being on here with you guys, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't expecting an hour-and-a-half long stream to figure out who the 53-man roster was. I wanted to get on here, talk a little bit about the Bears game, which we did. Again, not much going on because it is the 4th preseason game, but then I also wanted to talk about these roster cuts, and I thought, an hour and a half ago when I got on here, I thought, hey, by the time we get done with the Bears game, they will announce the 53-man roster who's all been cut. Obviously, the big news with the A.J. McCarron trade as well. Fox87, if you don't know, we traded A.J. McCarron for a 5th-round draft pick to the Oakland Raiders. So we did get an extra 5th. At the beginning of the day, when I first found out that we dropped Corey Coleman, I was wondering if there was anything in the trade that said, like, he needed to make the team. In order for the Browns to get the 2020 7th-round pick. But they did get the 2020 7th-round pick. So we didn't get that back. So we lost that. Again, some of us might say not a big deal, and I hope that proves to be the case. But you just never know. You just never know in the draft. So. Again, guys, just updating I now have 5 websites open. I have my phone going as well, just to try to see if there's any new news. Again, if you have not been on this channel before, or if you haven't been here in a while, welcome to Believers Talk. Thank you for joining me on here. We are constantly trying to keep you updated on all Buffalo Bills news. And come September 9th, week 1, regular season, just a little over a week away, we will be on here giving you live reactions, giving you play-by-play as the Buffalo Bills go into M&T Bank Stadium. Hopefully we come out with a win in that one. That's an important game. This week, just this week alone, before the game starts, we will have the prediction show out for you guys. I'll be giving you my prediction as far as how I think the team is going to do this upcoming season, what our final record will be. And I'll try to go game by game if I can. Just so that way you guys see what I think is going to happen, and we can see how wrong I am at the end of the year. And then we're going to have a pregame for the Ravens game coming up next Sunday. Nate Peterman should start week 1. I absolutely believe it. And as I said, in my previous live stream, I'm going into this now as Nathan Peterman's our starter until I'm informed otherwise. So if I do my prediction show on Wednesday and there still hasn't been an announcement, then I'm going into the prediction show thinking Nathan Peterman's our starter. I think the prediction should change whether Nathan Peterman's our starter or Josh Allen. I think that's a reasonable thing to think. And so that's why I'm trying to wait a little bit to come out with that. So that way, I can get as much information about my team as that we can before I make that prediction. So again, still looking for any news on roster cuts for the Buffalo Bills. Not much new news. Went through the 15 guys that we've already reportedly released. Again, big news from the NFL overall. Khalil Mack traded to the Bears. Obviously, that's big news. 2 first-round draft picks and more, they said. So we just see how much they got for Khalil Mack. If I'm the Raiders, I'm excited about that. If I'm a Raiders fan, I'm excited. I'm sorry. I know Khalil Mack's a big talent. I understand that. But he wasn't coming back. And if he was coming back, it was only going to be for this year. There was no way you were going to restructure a deal. It's kind of the Le'Veon Bell situation. If I'm the Steelers, if I can get that for Le'Veon Bell, I definitely do it as well. Because, again, Pittsburgh is just one of those teams that seems to produce good running backs. Le'Veon Bell's a special talent. I'm not going to deny anyone that. Of course, he's a special talent. But if you're going to hold out, if you're going to say you're worth so much money, and the Steelers tried. The Steelers offered him a pretty big contract, which would have made him the highest paid running back in the NFL. Now, reports came out that there was only so much guaranteed, but you also have to bet on yourself a little bit, right? As a player, don't you have to bet on yourself? Sure, injuries happen. Absolutely, injuries happen. And you should get as much guaranteed money as you can while you can. Just look at Aaron Rodgers. What was it? Over $100 million guaranteed? That's insane. That's awesome. Good for him. But what happens if the same thing happened to Aaron Rodgers happens again? What was it? Week 5, week 6 that he got hurt? So yes, you should get the guaranteed money you can, but you can't blame teams for not giving you a boatload of guaranteed money. You just can't, especially a running back who is now what is David Bell 24, 25? So in the next contract he signs, he's going to hit that 30 number that everyone fears, right? For running backs. Now AP is trying to prove that number wrong. LaShawn McCoy's trying to prove that number wrong. LaShawn McCoy just turned 30, and hopefully for our sake they do. But you can't deny the stats. This is statistics that say once the running back hits 30, his numbers decline. It's just been proven. Now, is that always the case? Absolutely not. I think Frank Gore is a perfect example of that. I think Fred Jackson is a perfect example of that. But you can't rely on those case-by-case things when you're talking about a period of a lot of years to prove those stats are correct. Yes, I absolutely. Fox A7 asks, do I think Marcus Murphy makes the team? I don't think there's a question in my mind that Marcus Murphy makes the team. Like I said, I think Marcus Murphy got Cadet cut from this team. Going into training camp, I thought Cadet had the job locked up as our 3rd running back, possibly 2nd if Chris Ivory didn't play well. But now I definitely think Marcus Murphy is our 2nd. And Marcus Murphy proven that he can return kicks on special teams. So I think there's no doubt that Marcus Murphy's on our team. I think Marcus Murphy is our 2nd back. I think the depth chart is going to read LaShawn McCoy, Marcus Murphy, Chris Ivory. He's going to be used like Darren Sproles, possibly. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's out a single player. You can say, you give me Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is worth 2 future first-round picks. I don't think there's a single player because let's say in 2 years you have a chance to get the quarterback of the future, and you don't because now you have Aaron Rodgers. Well, how long? In 2 years, Aaron Rodgers will have what? Maybe a good 5 years left, hopefully. And it was, if he gets another shoulder injury, you can't just keep fixing a shoulder and expect to do the same every single time. So I don't know. There's a lot of things out there. So we'll see. We will see. But I'm still waiting, guys. I have not. Maybe you guys have seen it, but I have not seen the Buffalo Bills final roster. And it's again, I like being with you guys. I enjoy this, but would really like to see. Really like to see this. Maybe I'll have to come back on here tomorrow to do another live stream when we actually get the names. Again, going down the list of guys we got so far, we've cut 15 guys reportedly so far. We got Coleman, Dupree, Riley, Phillips, Dean Marlowe, Breon Borders, Ryan Russell, Albert Havili, Tyrone Walker, Mo Porter, Gerard DeBeer, Adam Redmond, Tanner Vallejo, Keith Talbridge, and Sam Rogers. Those are the guys we've released so far. And then we have the A.J. McCarron trade. So 16 guys that we have gotten rid of so far. Again, we need to cut from 90 down to 53. That would be 37. So we're not there yet. We still have over halfway to go. Okay. Update on the Patriots, who they've released. We know about Ryan Russell. We know about Vallejo. I just can't believe it, guys. I mean, here we are an hour and a half past the official deadline, and we have very little news. You think so? Maybe a little bit. My hair started turning gray a while back. Wow. So I can't blame this. I can't blame this channel. But I'm glad that you've watched from the beginning. That makes me happy. Thank you for your support. I hope you continue to support the channel. Hopefully we make this a big thing here. But I'm happy to get the news out to even one Bills fan. You know, if you can get out to one Bills fan, it's worth it. So, you know, I'll be watching games anyway. So when I not report them to you guys, I had a guy on here from Spain one time, I think it was, and that was kind of cool to be able to talk to him. So, yes, this was as reports should have it. They should be cut down to 53 by 4 p.m. Eastern time. It is now 5:23 Eastern time, and we still do not have a report. Now, that's not to say they don't have it cut, and it's just not being reported to us. Why would they hold it out on us? I don't know. I would have to believe that I would have to believe. Bad pun, guys. I know. But I'd have to believe that there would be some sort of penalty, right, by the league if you don't have it in by a certain time. That's just what I think. What do I know? We're just fans. They don't care about us. But yes, they are supposed to have it cut down to 53 by now. So I came on here, was ready for it, and they let me down. So far, like I said, it's been those 15 names, nothing new. You know, I mean, if you look at CBSSports.com, they actually only have 3 for the Bills. So, you know, they only have Vallejo, Russell, and Corey Coleman on there, and it's just really hard to to find it all. But it's really just unbelievable. Whether it be local media ignoring our Bills once again, which seems to happen a lot. Yeah, maybe they're just not reporting it. Why wouldn't you report it? I don't know. Yeah, no, John Patrick, I'm waiting too. I'm waiting with you, you know. Trying to get any news at all. But yeah, I know that sometimes the media has a hard time giving us our Bills news. Why is that? I don't know. Same reason why Tre'Davious White didn't win Rookie of the Year last year. I don't know. You know. Yeah, it looks like Brandon Riley was cut. He just put something on his Twitter. Jeremy Curley has been told he is on the 53-man roster, so that gives us a little more information. Yeah, I mean CBS only has 3 guys right now. It's crazy. It's just insane. Oh man, NFL Network, yeah, they're a little behind as well. To be honest, the one that's keeping me most up to date right now is, and you guys might hate or love this, I don't know, www.democratandchronicle.com. They're the one keeping me the most updated. They at least have 15 guys on there, so I'm following that. I'm following them all still. Just maybe I'm on Bleacher Report, I'm on CBS, I'm on NFL, I'm on ESPN, and I'm on Democrat and Chronicle. I'm on Twitter to see what happens on Twitter. And then I have my Score mobile app up as well, just trying to get these updates. Hey, thank you. Thank you for appreciating my effort. I'm trying, guys. I really want to get this information out to you. I want the information for myself, right? I want the information for myself. I want to know who the 53-man roster is. Here we have been past the hour for an hour and a half now. I want to enjoy my college football Saturday as well. I'm thinking about turning off NFL Network just to watch some college football because that's what I want to do. But I want to know our 53-man roster more. So, the Notre Dame game starts in 2 hours. I got things I want to do before the Notre Dame starts. So, but yeah, maybe we'll set a cutoff time of like 6 p.m. here as far as me staying on here. And if I have to come back on tomorrow for a little bit, then that's what we'll do to go over our 53-man roster. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully they get it out to us before too long. But yeah, we do. Jeremy Curley has been told that he is on the 53-man roster. So that's kind of big news because that gives us more answers on wide receiver. We were pretty sure Curley was going to make it. So now we have Benjamin, Jones, Curley as 3 that we are. I mean, it would be a shock, right? If Zay Jones doesn't make it or Kelvin Benjamin doesn't make the team, there's issues. I'm pretty sure we would trade him before we just cut him. So those are the 3 that we're looking at safe. We have McLeod left. Oh yeah, and Robert Foster was reported to make the team too, which doesn't make me happy. But there's 4. So if we're looking to, I think it's McLeod and Prohl as the 2 guys who we're still unsure about. Is that correct? I'm not because Dupree, Riley have both. Oh, Streeter too. Yeah, and Streeter. So those are the 3 guys. Probably not keeping 7 wide receivers. Same thing with the tight end position. Not going to keep 5 tight ends, but so that means probably Lee, Kroom, or Thomas would be the ones that got cut. But we will see. We will see what continues to happen. All right, so we have a couple more guys on here, so I'll go through this list again for cuts. Here's who has been cut: Brandon Riley, we knew that already. Tanner Vallejo, Gerard DeBeer, Corey Coleman, Dean Marlowe, Cam Phillips, Keith Talbridge, Adam Redmond, Sam Rogers, Albert Havili, Breon Borders, Tyron Walker, Mo Porter, Malachi Dupree, and Kelsey McRae. So Kelsey McRae is kind of the new guy on there. Players who have been told to have made the roster so far. So these are guys who reportedly have made the roster. Ray McLeod has made the roster, so that's big news there. Seron Neal, Eddie Yarborough, Robert Foster, Jeremy Curley, and Lafayette Pitts. So those 6 guys have been told that they have made the roster. So now we're looking at Austin Proehl and Rod Streeter is pretty much 2 guys in limbo. Are we only keeping 5 wide receivers, or are we keeping 6? So those are the 2 guys that we're kind of looking out for right now as far as wide receivers. But again, Raymond McLeod, Seron Neal, Eddie Yarborough, Robert Foster, Jeremy Curley, and Lafayette Pitts all have been informed that they are on the 53-man roster. So that's the newest news right now as I continue to look through this tracker information, try to get that out to you. This is why I get paid the big bucks. Yep, that's why they pay me the big bucks. That's exactly right. So again, I mean, it's weird. Like all these social media sites, AJ McCarron still all the Bills things, all the Bills Twitter feeds are talking about AJ McCarron. Like it's not that big of a deal to me. Like AJ McCarron got traded for a 5th-round pick. I mean, that to me is just as big of news as Corey Coleman getting cut. Just as big of news as Raymond McLeod making the team. Like, it all falls in, not saying it's not important, it all falls into that same category. It doesn't need to be harped over for so long when here we are waiting for the 53-man roster. Deontay Thompson was released by the Cowboys today. The Bills did have interest in him. And again, maybe we drop both Proehl and Streeter because, again, some of these other wide receivers that are out there, maybe they interest us a little bit more than those 2. But again, guys, I do appreciate you hanging out with me here. Was expecting to get the 53-man roster at 4 o'clock, like a lot of the other teams already had out. Unfortunately, for some reason, the Bills have not reported their 53-man roster, or at least it hasn't been reported to us as of yet. But I do appreciate you guys sticking out with me. Welcome to Believers Talk if you haven't before. My name's Joe. I have a co-host, Steve. He is with me most times. He has some work issues and some things on that end that he's taking care of. In the meantime, I've been here, making sure that you guys get all your Bills information. We will be live streaming the games as far as like play-by-play and reaction. So September 9th, you can make sure to hit that notification button down here, and it will notify you when we go live to watch the Bills-Ravens game together. We can talk some Bills talk. Between now and the Ravens game, I do plan on having a prediction video out to you, predicting how I feel the NFL season will go for our Buffalo Bills. I do plan on having a pregame video out for you guys, pregaming the Baltimore Ravens versus Buffalo Bills game. Jimmy Smith for the Ravens is suspended. You got Hunter Hurst, or whatever his name is, the tight end for that Baltimore just drafted. What time will I go live pregame for the Baltimore game? I can't guarantee that right now. Got to do some things in the morning, got to drop off the kid, make sure he's well taken care of. And for those of you who have kids, that takes time. That takes time. Sometimes that things get unexpectedly done. Hayden Hurst, thank you, Wyoming don't exist. Hayden Hurst. He just got injured, so he probably won't play for the Ravens. But Fox 87, I'll get on here as soon as I can. If that means I'm on here at 12 o'clock, then I'll be on here at 12 o'clock. If that means I'm on here at 12:45 right before kickoff, then I'll be on here at 12:45 right before kickoff. The earlier I get on, the better. I do have topics of conversation that I do want to talk about prior to the game starting. At the rate we're going, I might finally get to talk about the 53-man roster in the pregame. So that will be exciting, right? But I get to know who the 53-man roster is right before pregame. So, and who knows when we'll know about the starting quarterback. I will probably put a video out the moment we find out who the starting quarterback is as well. So I'm trying to keep you guys updated on the 53-man roster. Again, I probably want to get off here soon to take care of some things on my end before the Notre Dame game starts today. Other than that, everything that I have updated you on has pretty much been it. I'm really excited to hear that Ray McLeod has been told he made the roster. I really liked McLeod's production this preseason. I'm not sure what you guys have thought, but I thought he was definitely someone on the bubble who I wasn't sure if he'd be cut or if he would stay on the roster. If you wanted to go with young talent, then you would keep him around. If you wanted to go with the veteran guys, then you would go another way. They released Riley, they released Dupree, and then they have signed McLeod. Right now, the two wide receivers we're really looking at is Austin Proehl and Rod Streeter as far as who they keep and who they released. So yeah, I'm really excited for week 1 too, man. It's 8 days away. 8 days away. So in 8 days from this moment, we will either be 0-1 or 1-0. I'm hoping we're 1-0, just like the rest of you. But yeah, we'll either be 0-1, 1-0 at this time, or I should say it just in case 0-1, because overtime will be over by now too. So it'll be 5:36, and oh no, wait, yeah, 8 days. So it'll be 5:36, and we might be 0-1. Chances are unlikely, but we'll see. We'll see. That's why they play the game, right? That's why they play the game. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just counting to make sure that I have given you guys all these updates as far as the players who have currently been cut, which I have. And I see the other guys who have been told they made the roster. So we're trying to keep you guys as updated as possible here. Again, the announcement of the 53-man roster was supposed to be done by 4 o'clock Eastern time. It is now 5:37 Eastern time. And the Bills are one of a handful of teams, probably about 6, 7, 8 teams, who have yet to have been reported as announcing who their 53-man roster is. I'm not sure why that is. Again, most of the teams, I can go down a list of teams whose rosters have been reported. And now this is according to CBSSports.com, who, by the way, only has us cutting 3 players at the current moment, which we know is not true. We have at least cut 16 or 15 and then 16 with the Allen trade. But here we go. So the Dolphins, final. Ravens, final. Bengals, final. Browns, final. Steelers, final. Texans, final. Colts, final. Jags, final. Titans, final. Chargers, final. Cowboys, final. Giants, final. Eagles, final. Packers, final. Vikings, final. Falcons, final. Panthers, final. Rams, final. Niners, final. So those are all the teams who are reported on CBS.com as having the final 53-man roster. I lost count. I think that was probably about 20. So somewhere between probably 10 and 12 teams yet to report all of them. But that's a lot. I don't understand why it takes an hour and a half to release that information. Like I said, I have 6 other websites open. It's been reported that the 5th round we received from Oakland is the 2019, which I could have told you. So I'm just reading some comments on Twitter from people who are unhappy that it's taking this long for our. And it's like I was doing it too. I was blaming the Bills, but again, so like the media, other than local media, they don't treat the Bills well. They just really don't. And maybe a 17, 18-year playoff drive does that to you, but I mean, you talk about so many different things that the Bills just get forgotten about, and they really disrespect us. I actually was watching I do remember this. I was watching a NFL Network YouTube video not that long ago where they were talking about teams that made the playoffs last year and how they're going to fare this year. They didn't even do the Titans and Bills. Like they didn't even do the Titans and Bills. They didn't even talk about them. Here's this hour-long video about every team that made the playoffs last year, except the Titans and Bills. Why? You talked about the NFC wildcard teams. Why didn't you talk about the AFC wildcard teams? And they in the description they say something about that, or I think it's like a tagged or a pinned comment that they say, "Oh yeah, we didn't do that." And like I even commented, like I'm not gonna subscribe to you, or I'm gonna unsubscribe. I forget if I'm subscribed or not, just for that. Like why? It's just it's ridiculous sometimes that we get forgotten about. Why do we get forgotten about? You have 32 teams. That's why I started this channel. Because if you have 32 teams, how are we one of the few that don't get any mentions? We had the defensive rookie of the year this year. We had him. I don't care what the votes say. I know Saints. Yay, Saints. Good for you. But man, Tre'Davious White was the rookie of the year. Bottom line. So yeah. But what do they see? Oh, they see Bills fans jumping through tables. Let's make fun of Bills Mafia. Let's make fun of Bills fans. Look how crazy they are. Because we have more passion than anyone else. Because we give, what was it, over 50 grand or whatever it was to a charity of a quarterback from another team because he helped out our team. You never hear stories like that from anywhere else. Do you know why? Because it doesn't happen anywhere else. It's us versus the world, and sometimes that's legit, right? Like it's always gonna be us versus the world. Man. Fox 87, my favorite college team, Notre Dame. Huge. Actually, my favorite college team is Buffalo. Like I love everything about Buffalo. So my favorite college team is Buffalo. But as far as national attention goes, I enjoy watching Notre Dame because growing up in Buffalo, you either watch Buffalo University or you watch Notre Dame because they have the NBC contract. So I got to watch them. Same thing with my favorite baseball teams, Atlanta Braves, because back when I was growing up in New York and even here in PA, you follow them because they had the TBS contract. I'm a Knicks fan when it comes to basketball because they're the only. Well, the Nets have come here now, but or have come to Brooklyn now, but I'm a Knicks fan. My favorite. I always joke my favorite baseball team is actually the Buffalo Bisons. It's just they're not a major league team. So you'd ask why is your affiliate team not? They're affiliated with Toronto, I believe. So, but yeah, I'll read the local newspaper in the back. It gives the standings of all the baseball teams, and that includes like your other leagues. And I'll look to see how the Bisons are doing before I do anything else. Yeah, that's right. I still read the newspaper. I still read the paper just about every day, every weekday. My work gets it for free. So lunchtime, I'm reading the newspaper. So, but I am looking forward to the Notre Dame Michigan matchup tonight. Again, probably will have to get off here soon so I can take care of some things prior to that game. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we can't get what we came on here to get. If it was me holding this out on you, I would expect you all to unsubscribe to me. I would stop doing this channel because that's what I came on here to do. But unfortunately, it's not me. It's for some reason it's just not being reported. So not too happy. I mean, I'll go over some of these guys now. Just to tell you what I think of them. I'm not impressed with Lafayette Pitts. I really hope that he can step up his game. Good. I'm glad I'm not alone. I'm glad I'm not alone reading the paper. Fox 87. Thanks. So we are keeping Lafayette Pitts. I thought we would cut him. I haven't been impressed with him in this preseason. Hopefully, he's shown the coaches more in practice. And at this moment, I do trust our coaching staff. I have no reason not to. They led. A lot of people are saying the Bills overproduced last year. Why is that? Because we got the most out of our players. And who's to thank for that? Our coaching staff. Now, obviously, Dable's new, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. But other than that, pretty much the same coaching staff. So I'm really, especially on defense, right? Lafayette Pitts is a cornerback, so we need to trust our defensive coaches to make those defensive decisions. We have kept Jeremy Curley. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. Consistent veteran wide receiver. Had a few good years with the Jets. Had a really good year with the 49ers. He only had 1 year with the 49ers, and it was actually pretty good. So I would expect good numbers from him. He might actually be our number 2, just simply because I think Zay Jones would be a better wide receiver. But I think Zay Jones is just better in the slot. So we got him, Jeremy Curley, Robert Foster. I'm really shocked by that. If you've watched this channel at all, you know I'm shocked by that. He just didn't impress me. But good for him. Undrafted free agent, made the team. Eddie Yarborough, that makes sense. He was consistent last year in helping this team out. Siren Neal, same thing with Lafayette Pitts. Just insert that with Siren Neal. But he is our 4th safety, as mentioned earlier in the stream. Raymond McLeod, that's the one I'm excited about. That's the one I'm really excited about. But this stream is going on 2 hours, guys. I hate to cut short prior to getting the 53-man roster. I appreciate all of you coming on here. And again, when maybe later tonight, if I can, maybe I'll get on here live when they finally report it after the Notre Dame game, or tomorrow if I have time, I'll get on here. I do plan getting on here later this week. Again, 2 videos prior to that Baltimore Ravens video. I'll have my prediction on how the team's going to do, have the pregame video before the day or 2 before the actual game. And then I'll get on here as soon as I can on Sunday for the game. If they announce who the starting quarterback is going to be, I will try to get on here live so we can talk about that as well. So those are things to look forward to in the upcoming week. Obviously, 8 days away from the NFL season. So if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. We will be here for commentary and live play-by-play. Hit the notification button. Thank you all for joining me. Like I said, I'm sorry that the 53-man roster has not come out yet. Hopefully that comes out soon. And when it does, I will try to bring it on here. So that way you guys can get your update and we can talk about the final 53-man roster. I do look forward to that. Thank you all for joining me. Please join us next time here on Believers Talk, where we keep you updated on all Bills-related news. Have a great night. Enjoy college football. First full Saturday of college football. But till next time, go Bills.